So many of us come to the path of Kundalini or Tantra. You want to understand how to manifest. You want to try to learn how to manipulate energy using mantras, using techniques. And a lot of us who come to Kundalini Yoga because we want to marry the physical, material with the spiritual world. Except behind this desire lay a desire for us to conquer any limitations that we experience in our material world. If you really get into the depth of why you are coming to something rather than it seek you, and usually you're coming to something because it is also seeking you, but the reasons may not be the same. So some of us feel that to awaken our Kundalini means that we will have at our disposal a lot of supernatural powers, a lot of siddhis, a lot of energy that's going to allow us transformation in many aspects of our lives, except the dominant aspect that's going to drive us towards this for some of us may not really be for us to get to know why, or for us to get in touch with source. And even if we do want to get in touch with source, for some of us the driving factor is an innate dissatisfaction with the status quo, with life as it presents itself to us, with any aspect of our life that we don't like. It could be the fact that we are reliant on something outside of us for a source of income, that our abundance is tied into a conditioned existence, that even our understanding or our experience of the divine is limited to beliefs, to dogma, to structure, right? Now, when we come into all of this with this background, when we want to experience a life beyond all of this, not because we want to experience that life and really get to merge with our divine self or the divinity or the source of it all, not because we have bhakti or we're devout or we want to be devoted, but because what we are devoted to is to try to find a way of escaping, or you're looking for a fix. Now, with that kind of volition that we're looking for a fix to our problems, this is where you're going to find a lot of you swaying towards gurus or towards teachers or towards people who will promise you various things if you chant a mantra, if you consider performing certain rituals, or if you even use things like totke. Totke are like charms, lucky charms. You use lucky charms, you use lots of other ways. You go to somebody who has become a learned siddha, or they have now achieved certain siddhis or certain powers, and they're able to manipulate energy. So these are the sort of people, you can call them witches or wizards or black magicians, white magicians, but they're able to do this. And so we will be tempted to go towards this. Now, for whatever reason, if you do decide that no, I want to go towards the path of Tantra because I want to learn something, but I really want to know where we are from or what it is. But if you still have, because remember, there'll be a reason why you want to do this, isn't it? So what is the reason? Usually what our reasons are, if we are the seeker, is that what we see we can't take as this is it. There has to be something beyond this. Then for some of us, it won't be that. It'll be a feeling like there is something else, or you're being called for something else, or that there is another life somewhere else. Some of you will have all these other experiences. But there will be some of us who are escaping our day-to-day reality. We are traumatized, or some of us have experiences that we want to forget about and are in spirituality because of these little dopamine hits that we're getting from maybe sitting in a satsang, maybe going to meet all of these people and being part of a community. So maybe being part of a community, it isn't because we want to be part of this particular group, but we are missing a form of connection within us. Yeah. And so you are leaning to spirituality to come and fill up a void. Now, here's the irony about all of this. Whatever it is, and if these are the reasons for some of us who are going to get into this, when you really do experience a spiritual awakening, a genuine spiritual awakening, you will have no choice but to sort of go with the awakening. And it won't be a case of, oh, I'm in it because I want more abundance or I want to live this particular life. There will not be anymore what you want. It'll be the spiritual awakening and what the awakening is here to tell you. And that includes how limited our desires, how limited we are in our perception of life, because the spiritual awakening is going to do the exact opposite. So everything you thought you wanted, everything you thought you were running after or running away from, it literally shifts, because a spiritual awakening, it's like an alarm clock. It simply wakes you up. And it dispels every illusion that you ever had. Now, the gap between when you have the awakening, so when you have that profound experience, to when you are seeking or you're moving towards spirituality, but because you're using it as a means to an end, whether you know it or not, because some of us won't know, and some of us will genuinely believe that we're after this profound experience, whereas if you're not getting that profound experience in your here and now and in the life that you're living, then there is something that is missing. And usually what is missing is that connection. So whatever it is, it'll boil down to that connection with all that you are, with all that there is, and with Source. So when the spiritual awakening comes, things change. But the crucial period, folks, is before the spiritual awakening, and when you now have this, in that period, that it's not even a transitory period, but it's literally a period of slumber. You're none the better. None the better meaning, before you've awakened, though you're going to be gravitating towards a spiritual path or a path that is taking you into the alternative, you will still have a reason why you're there. And this is when you're open to suggestion, you're open to exchange. So when someone or something presents itself as an option of taking you away from whatever it is that you want to go away from and into a place which is going to offer you what you think is going to take for that thing that you're escaping from to go away, you will be tempted to buy into that belief, into whatever. It could be a mantra, it could be a society, it could be a group, it could be whatever it is. Yeah. So you will not have shifted. It is when you have, and this is a very, very thin line, folks, as soon as you have your spiritual awakening, it gets pretty ugly. You know that because you're going through it already. And you know how painful it can be to let go of all those things that we thought we were, of letting go. Yeah, and the only thing that makes a spiritual awakening really difficult is that attachment that we have to our old self, to our concept, or to conceptualized versions of what is an identity, to conceptualize version of existence, to conditioned existence, because we believe that things ought to fit into certain paradigms, into certain containers. But a spiritual awakening completely shifts that. It lifts all the containers. So if you like, there is nothing to contain the ocean anymore. Yeah? And if there's nothing to contain the ocean, where is it going to go? Where is it going to go? So that's what happens, folks, when you go through your spiritual awakening. But this is just a little post to show you the possibility that we may at times be using a spiritual tool or an alternative tool as a means of escapism. Nevertheless, though we might be coming towards it for whatever reason, ultimately that is already seeking you. The awakening is already seeking you. So ultimately, no matter why you were seeking or you thought you were seeking, you might have thought, oh, I might get this, I might get that, I might come away from this, but it is you that was being sought. Because of our natural cycle of completion, we will naturally come back to our original self. Doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter what happens in between, but you're bound to wake up, because that's the natural course for nature to happen, for us to go back to starting point, and then that cycle continues. Sending you so much love. We'll be back for part 2 of the heart chakra and Kundalini awakening rising in the heart, which is still underway. Lots of love. Take care.